I've maintained a very positive attitude throughout most of this paper, touting all the advancements and constructive changes that have been made in the comic book field, and how much potential the medium has for further expansion and evolution. This is because I have a great enthusiasm for this art form, and I choose to be optimistic. There are already too many cynics predicting the demise of comics and how the entire industry is doomed. And I've noticed that such naysayers usually don't do much to change the situation. That having been said, though, I'm not blind to the many problems inherent in the industry. There are plenty of flaws in the way the comics industry is being run, and they need to be corrected. Sadly, the industry is notoriously resistant to large-scale changes in the business model. For all the beneficial changes that have been made by the major publishers, there have been some equally boneheaded moves. It seems that too many within the industry are just complacent to maintain the status quo and ignore the declining sales and shriveling fan base. No other commercial enterprise is still doing business now the same way it did in the 60s or 70s. So why should comics? Changes have to be made in a number of areas, and I have a number of suggestions in this regard. I'll admit, I am making these suggestions as someone on the outside looking in, and I don't pretend to grasp every nuance of the business end of things. But if even the smallest steps are taken in these directions, and fortunately some already have been, then that willingness to change will do far more good than just sitting around and waiting for the house of cards to collapse. This may be a tough time for comics financially, but artistically, things have never been more exciting. So there's ample opportunity for the business side to gain back what's been lost. In order for public opinion of the comic book form to improve, comics have to become more visible. They can't remain in the shadows of the direct market and the few scattered shops that are left. Recognition of comics as a viable art form must not stay constrained to its current limited audience. It has to be expanded outward into the true mainstream of society. Nobody will acknowledge comic books if they're constantly playing second fiddle to movies, television, and video games. These concerns have great magnitude in the comics industry, and a number of solutions have been proposed. I don't see these as having a one or the other sort of relationship, but rather a group of actions to be taken more or less simultaneously to ensure a healthier and more noticeable existence for the sequential art form.